So for the developing, I'm going to need D76 developer. I usually use a bottle for mixing, a bottle for storage, and some tools just to cut the bottle open and put the measures on. We're also going to paint the bottle. Next, we're going to cut a hole in the top of the bottle, just so we can get the mixture in there easily and stir it. So just draw a circle around the top and then just cut a hole out. And if you don't have a funnel for pouring the liquid in, I would keep the top of the bottle because you can use that later as a funnel. Now we're gonna pour water in. So I'm gonna pour 1 liter of water into the bottle and then mark it on the bottle. If you have a measuring jug or something large enough which has measurements like up to 4 liters, then you don't have to do this part. But if you're doing it like me with just a 5-liter bottle, there's no markings on the bottle, so we're just going to pour in the water and measure it every 1 liter, and then at the last part we're going to put 800 milliliters in so we can find the total of 3.8 liters. The reason for doing this is you're supposed to add 3 liters of hot water, then the developing mixture, and then bring it up to 3.8. Of course, you're not going to know because the developer is going to be mixed into the liquids. You can't be exact, so you can't be exact. So you just put on the bottle 3.8 liters mark. So once you've put the mixture in, you can then just bring it up to that level. So you want to make sure you have the right temperature. You want the water to be between 50 and 55 degrees for mixing. So just make sure you've got hot enough water. I've just used tap water, but you can also use distilled water to make your mixture. Some people do prefer to use distilled water for making their mixture, but personally I just go for tap water and I've had decent results so far. I think distilled water you don't get as harsh blacks, but I'm not sure on that one. So of course you're going to add the developing mixture to the water. And then once it's all in, make sure you get it all out of the bag, you can start stirring the water to mix it in. This will take a while just because there's so much developing mixture to be dissolved in the water. So once it's sufficiently mixed, you want to bring that water up to 3.8 liters, so just add the rest of the water to the mixture. And one more time, just give it a stir just to make sure it's all mixed in. Now we can put it into the bottle. Remember I told you earlier, you can use the top of the bottle that you cut off to use as a funnel to pour it into the bottle. I'd advise doing this in a place where you don't mind getting a bit messy. I did spill a little bit on my leg, but I just put it in the wash and it's fine. It didn't stain my clothes or anything. Right, so now that we've mixed the D76 developer, we can test it on a roll of film. Now I'm going to test it on a cheap Chinese roll of film first, just to make sure it's worked. I've got this one that I found on a website called Taobao, and it's just a black and white film. Yeah, you won't find this on Massive Dev Chart. It just says ISO 100, and it says you can mix it, you can develop it in D76 or Xtol, and it gives you some instructions on the box. So we're going to develop that and see how it goes. Another thing to note about these films, if you happen to come across them yourself, got a strip here which can give you an idea. They only have holes on one side, which can make it very hard to load into the developing tank. So if you do have film like this, with only one side, you can take another negative, and then you can just simply tape it to it, and tape it roughly in the middle. And then when you put it in the dark bag, you can use this end to feed it through the winder for the rolling the film onto it, and you should be okay. So yeah, when you're feeding it through, just make sure that you just feel that it's not bunching up. The first time I tried to develop this film, I didn't realize that, because I was having real difficulty to get it to go around, and I didn't realize, and what would happen is that it hadn't gone around the reel, it just gone back on itself, and it was just bunched up like this inside the tank. So the film did not develop, and it was all just squashed together. The liquids didn't transfer over it properly. So a bit of advice if you have film where it's only got holes on one side. So let's develop a roll film and see how it goes. So I've got my negatives here, and they developed quite nicely, actually, surprisingly. Given that it's a Chinese film and it's very cheap, I found it on Taobao for about 15 kwai at the time. They've come out quite nicely. I'll put some photos up now so you can have a look. Bear in mind, this film is not like a high-grade film or anything like that. It's very cheap. It's kind of just a fun film, I kind of feel. So they're not going to be amazing quality, but the D76 worked. So I'm very happy with that. So guys, I hope that was helpful. If you've been thinking about developing your own film, now you know that it is really easy to make the mixture for D76 at home. And if you're worried about messing it up, just go and get yourself some cheap Chinese film and try it at home. You can just take photos or whatever and not worry about it. And once you've developed your first roll of film, you'll realize how much more fun the whole experience of film photography is. If you have any questions about the process or anything about what I did, if you have any suggestions on how I could do it better, please feel free to comment below. And guys, if you're interested in videos like this, do subscribe. I'm going to try and put more content out there about film photography and just photography in general, digital and film. So yeah, see you in the next one, guys. I hope you have a good day.